It's been a long time since I've added just a basic movement exploration, a basic dance exploration to my YouTube channel. So it used to be that I would do Facebook Lives and then put them on YouTube. And, I don't understand all these platforms and it doesn't matter. I just like offering explorations and giving you something that might be useful for you. I mean, I'm not trying to show you the right way or the wrong way to do anything, just giving you some ideas that might be helpful. So today I'm thematically going to work with stability and mobility in the body. Now, we've been going through so much, what would I say, man-made and natural disasters for so long, and it seems this year is a theme about flooding. My hometown where I grew up was flooded. Even the town I live here had some flooding recently. We've had the horrific flooding in Texas. There, there have been some, and then not to mention the violence and the wars. So there's a lot going on. And I think that it's a call for this theme of working with mobility and stability, because sometimes it's stability that gives us that opportunity for mobility. So I'm going to start on the floor and try to show you different options for playing with this. I have my ball. I also have a chair. So I will show you different options. And of course, it's all about your exploration and not just mine. So the first thing is when more of your body is stable to the floor, so you can be on your stomach, you can be on your side, you can be on your back, and just feel all that stability. And perhaps when you're down here on the floor, and I'm going to lean up because I think it's good for me to project my voice, is you'll feel more stability because more parts of your body are on the floor. So what happens when you take time to either lay prone, which means on your belly, or lay supine, which means on your back? And just notice what happens as you do that. And you can take some time with that and see what happens. Does something want to move, or do you just want to extend your body and feel what it's like to feel stability? What's it like to feel totally stable into the floor? So I'm going to just lean into my belly right now and just take a few breaths and notice that what I like to do here is just, I'm kind of like an amoeba. So can you imagine yourself as a single cell organism just moving on the floor? And it really does kind of get into your fluid nature a little bit. So this is one option to explore. So that can be an option. If you're laying on your side, you can play with, well, you've sort of stabilized one side of your body. How do you then start to move with the other side of the body? So that's another way on the floor where you can begin to stabilize just one side of the body and move the other. So you can stay in any of these explorations as long as you want. And I'll just show you other starting points for this exploration. So, of course, I suggested if you can lay on your back and see, again, you can do the same amoeba-like movement and just see what it's like to just move like an amoeba with as many parts of the body in the floor. And anytime you start to do one of these explorations, it's always good to then take a pause and just notice. Just notice anything different in your body. Or maybe it's the same. Maybe you notice energy shifting. So I've shown you 3 different ways that you can start exploring mobility and stability by being on the floor, laying on the floor. If it's difficult to lay on the floor, you can add more comfort. So it's up to you. And then when I'm sitting on the floor, of course, this is where I might start on my sit bones and then just start to move off the sit bones. And what does that do for my mobility and stability? So for me, I can feel like I'm rolling through my core. I can feel I can get into my spine. And I can take time to really stabilize my lower body and just move my upper body as much as possible. So that's one way to do it. Or I can stabilize my upper body and just start moving my lower body and see what happens in that kind of exploration. And again, you can take as long as you want in these explorations, with always an opportunity to take a pause and just notice what's happening in your body. I start to feel a little more energy. I start to feel, the more fullness of my body, the more roundness, the more curves as I start to explore that. So now I'm going to grab my ball, which again is something that has mobility. So in order to stabilize the ball, I can start to move on the ball, but you can see that it's less stable. It starts to move with me. So I suppose my feet became sort of, the, the stable points, and that the ball helps me with my mobility. And a ball can also be something that you put your abdomen on, and I like doing this too, is rolling in the ball and just feeling the weight come into my upper body and then pushing back and letting it just go into my lower body. And of course, there's so much you can do with the ball. And in a way, the ball is taking you into more mobility than stability, because there's sort of an ongoingness with the roundedness of the ball to take you into some flow. And you can, if you don't have one of these bigger balls, you can do it on smaller balls as well. But see, the ball is supporting parts of your body, and you can find some mobility by stabilizing the body and touching the body and giving the weight of the body into this ball. So there's a lot you can do with the ball. And even as you stand with the ball, bringing it into your legs and your hands and finding ways to move this way. I probably should have done the chair before I did the ball, but maybe I'll go back to the ball after I do the chair. So if you've got a chair, I happen to have these yoga chairs that are really lovely. But again, you can really stabilize your lower body and just move your upper body and feel that mobility, but you've got stability because you got this chair. You can sort of hold on to the chair to stabilize your upper body and really move your lower body and change directions and have different parts stable on it. And it is a yoga chair, so it's designed for, you know, but you also need to make sure that it's not tippy. You might want to put it up against a wall and then just practice whatever movements feel nice for you on the stability of the chair. So, so this has a little bit more stability to it. And then, when you've done a little exploration, again, take a little bit of time to notice what's happening in your body. I have my heart beats faster, so I've been actually doing more activity here. But I also really feel my feet much more into the floor. And I'm aware more of my back body. So those are just my thing. And then I'll go back to the ball, which again, the ball actually starts to give you more opportunity for lots of different ways to be mobile. So it's less stable, so it can help you get into your mobility. And of course, you can try to stabilize the ball. I like sitting at the computer this way, and because it keeps some movement in the body instead of a chair. But you can do as much or as little movement. I mean, if you're feeling that you need a little more stability on the ball, you can just bring the movements closer to the body and just do, smaller little movements. And especially if you're coming back from an injury or anything like that, that might really help. Just really slowing it down, taking your time, becoming aware of different body parts, how you might be able to stabilize the ball more. Like I could put my hands and my feet on it and feel like I can actually push off the ball and push onto my feet. And so once you've given yourself some time to play with that, if you've got a ball, you can use smaller balls. Most of us have balls in the house that you can play with mobility and stability. And so then when you come up to standing, I'll just lift my camera a little bit. So when you get to your feet, you can just take inventory of what's happening with your body right now. And when we walk, we stabilize on one foot so we can mobilize the other, and that leg, and that cross lateral pattern that we do for walking. But perhaps once you get on your feet, as opposed to being on the floor where you had more of your body on the floor, perhaps we're more mobile when we're on our feet because we have smaller area of our body that's stabilized. So you can go very slowly here and just, move side to side on the feet and just notice your mobility and stability. And again, like we did on the floor, if you want to stabilize one side, you can just move the other side by stabilizing one and play with how much balance you have. So that's one way to do it. I should probably do the other side a little bit to give myself some movement. And of course, I'm doing it a little bit a little bit more energy, but you can just do it really small. You can just do little bits of stabilizing one side, or you can, put your hand on a wall and start to mobilize another part of your body. So that's a little bit of a few ways that you can explore the pattern of mobility and stability. And we really want access to that possibility, especially when there's so much going on in the world that can easily destabilize us. How can we maintain our mobility and our stability? So thank you very much for joining me in this exploration, and I hope that's something fit for you. Have a beautiful day, evening, night, wherever you are in the world.